Okay. In last class, we discussed the dual nature of matter. So just like how the radiation possesses the dual nature or dualistic nature, the matter, that means material particles also possess dual nature. That means they behave like a wave and they behave like a particle also. Okay. So that wave nature of the material particle can be observed whenever the particle is having very, very less mass. In such case only we can observe. If any particle or body is having more mass, their wavelength associated with that particle is very, very less, which cannot be observed, which cannot be diffracted more. That's why that cannot be observed. That's why in case of lighter particles only, the wave nature of the material particle can be observed. Lighter particles means like electrons, protons. In such a way, for this we can observe the diffraction phenomena. For this diffraction phenomena by considering the wave nature of the material particle. Okay, for this only Davison-Germer, in order to observe, actually de Broglie hypothesized that the wave is associated with the material particle based on the nature loves symmetry, and the entire universe is filled with matter and radiation. Based on this concept, and the radiation possesses dual nature. That means the radiation, when passing through any medium, transmitting through any medium, it behaves like a wave. When interacts with the matter, it behaves like a particle. That is called the dual nature of the radiation. So based on dual nature of radiation, nature of symmetry, and as the whole universe is filled with matter and radiation, de Broglie hypothesized that. That means without any experimental evidence, he imagined that the matter also possesses dual nature. The material particle also behaves like wave as well as particle. Okay, so here by considering this one, de Broglie calculated the wavelength associated to the material particle also, that is called the de Broglie wavelength. So the formula for de Broglie wavelength is lambda is equal to h by momentum of the particle. Okay, already we did some, I think you did some problems also based on the de Broglie wavelength. Yesterday I have given in a new pattern book now. Okay, I think you have done some problems also based on that. Here, even though the de Broglie hypothesized the dual nature of the matter or material particles, that was experimentally observed by for electron. In case of electron, the dual nature of the electron was observed by Davison and Germer by their experiment, Davison-Germer diffraction experiment. Davison-Germer diffraction experiment. Okay, here, no doubt, electron is the particle, so it has particle nature. But we don't know is it possess wave nature or not. That's why Davison and Germer, by diffraction experiment, they observed the wave nature of the electron. Okay, so here Davison-Germer observes this experiment. This experiment observed or proved the wave nature of electron, so that it supports the dual nature of the matter also, because electron means it is the material particle. If this experiment observed or proved the wave nature of the electron, means no doubt that material particle is having wave nature, as well as no doubt it is a particle. That's why it has particle. It has dual nature, just as dual nature of the radiation. Okay, now how this Davison-Germer proved the diffraction by diffraction phenomena, how he proved the wave nature of the electron. Here already you know, whenever two waves meet together, so that construct interference takes place. Suppose the two light radiation having same frequency meet together at a point with a constant phase difference between them, like interference waves. Then in between the two waves, interference takes place, and whenever to have the constructive interference, what is the condition? Tell me. To have the constructive interference, what is the condition? The path difference must be equal to, in order to have the constructive interference, what is the path difference between the two waves when meet at a point?
Pi.
For constructive, tell me, Balaji.
Pi by 2.
Pi by 2, no? Enana? Pi by 2 na? In condition you tell me, not value. Condition. When 2
Pi.
Pi, sir.
Pi.
n path difference I'm asking.
180 degrees.
Path difference. N lambda no?
N lambda, sir.
Yeah, for constructant difference, path difference between the two light waves when meet at a point is n lambda. Our phase difference is equal to 2n pi. We know. Okay. Similarly, here also, in Division-Zermer experiment, to observe the wave nature of the electron. Okay. Here they have here their experimental setup is as in the diagram shown here. You see, here it is the highly evacuated chamber. There is no gas. That means the pressure of the air is 0. That means it is highly evacuated gas. Highly evacuated chamber. That is the vacuum chamber. So in this vacuum chamber, a tungsten filament is introduced. Tungsten filament is introduced here. Okay, this is connected to a low tension battery. That means by means of this battery, we can apply the potential difference about 2 volt, 2 volt to 10, 5 volt like that only. Okay, here, whenever you switch on, whenever you connect the low tension battery in the circuit here, then the electric current passing through the filament gets heated. When filaments gets heated, then the filament ejects the electrons from them. That phenomena is called thermionic emission. So by thermionic emission here, they produce the electrons. They produce the electrons. These electrons are liberated in all directions. These electrons liberated like this in all directions. Okay, of course, these electrons travel in this direction. A setup is there. Behind this filament, there is some metal cup, etc., which is given negative potential. Due to the negative potential, due to that, these electrons liberated, which are called thermions. Actually, the electrons liberated in this thermionic emission are called thermions. Thermions are nothing but electrons only. So electrons are liberated by the filament when current passing through them. Okay, now in order to accelerate these electrons to high energy, in order to accelerate the electrons here in front of this filament, a narrow slit is kept. A narrow slit is kept, having a fine hole in them. Here there is a narrow slit having a fine hole. Slit. This is the slit having a fine hole. Okay. So here this slit is connected to positive terminal of the high tension battery and filament is connected to negative terminal. Okay, or here there is a metal cup like this. Okay, negative terminal is connected to filament and this filament or this metal cup. Due to that, the electrons liberated here are repelled by this metal cup and these are attracted by the slit. Due to that, the electrons will be accelerated here. The electrons will be accelerated. So here charge of the electron is E and potential difference between these two is suppose we say V is the large potential difference applied between the slit and the filament or slit and cup, whatever it may be. Okay, this is the potential difference between high potential difference between the filament and the slit we can write. Okay, so across this filament and slit, when V potential difference is applied, then what is the work done on the electron? Due to this potential difference between these two, the electron is accelerated. So what is the work done on the electron between these two whenever the electron travels from filament to the slit? V, and across the filament and slit, when high potential difference V is applied, then work is done on the electron. That work done on the electron, W is equal to V into E, VQ. That is the work done. Because of this work done, the electron acquires a kinetic energy of mv square, where V is the velocity with which the electron reaches the slit. With greater velocities, when electron reaches the slit, as a fine hole is there in it, then a pencil beam of or a beam of electrons are the beam of electrons are comes out through the slit. And ఇక్కడ narrow slit కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ ప్రొడ్యూస్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ narrow slit ద్వారా పాస్ అయినప్పుడు a narrow beam of electrons are emerges out through the slit. So what is the purpose of the slit means it is used to produce the narrow beam of electrons, just like narrow beam of light. How in Young's double slit experiment, narrow pinholes are used. Through that pinholes, when the light rays are emerges, then narrow beam of light rays are emerges through the pinholes. Similarly, here also narrow beam of electrons are ejected. Here the circles, red color circles are the say electrons. Here red color circles are there. Here this is red color circle. These circles represents the electrons. Narrow beam of electrons are produced by means of the slit. So these high energetic electrons narrow beam of electrons strikes the nickel target. Here they use the nickel. They use the nickel. Nickel target is kept in front of the narrow beam of electrons. Okay. Here, no, you know already in case of crystal structure, already you know in any crystal, every crystal consists of number of layers. Okay. Every crystal is composed of atoms. All atoms are arranged in a regular manner with a periodic fashion. Okay. Lattice plane is formed. Such type of lattice planes are arranged one over the other so that a crystal is formed. Okay, the distance between any two lattice planes is equal to distance between the interatomic distance or intermolecular distance. Okay, so such type of crystal structure is there. So such type of nickel crystal or nickel target is kept here. Whenever these electrons strikes the electron in the target metal, like nickel electron in the target metal, then these electrons are scattered in one another direction, are diffracted in another direction. Actually, these electrons, when reaches nearer to the electron in the atom of the target material, are like nickel here, the electrons are scattered. Actually, if electrons are here, if nickel target is not there, these electrons continues to travel along the same path in forward direction. Okay, but because of nickel target is kept here, these electrons through the narrow beam of electrons, when instant on the nickel target here, the electrons in the atom of the nickel target material, these electrons scattered and they diffracted. They diffracted in this direction. They deviate their direction of motion. They travel in this direction. Okay, here we cannot see these electrons. Are these are diffracted in this direction or not? We cannot say. We cannot see them. That's why here there is a detector. There is a detector. Detector is connected to galvanometer. Whenever the electrons reaches the detector, immediately the current here, current internally there is a circuit here. Whenever the electron instant on the detector, immediately some current passing through the circuit inside it. When you see that current, then we can say electrons instant here, and electrons travel in this direction. Suppose if no electric current is there, no electrons are there in this path. In such a way, in order to detect the electrons direction here, the detector is arranged here, which is in turn connected to the galvanometer. With the help of the current reading in the galvanometer, we can say are the electrons are diffracted in this direction or in this direction. We can detect. Okay, here this detector can be rotated about center of the circular path. Here this detector can be moved along the curved path like this. By taking this as the center, this detector can be rotated like this. Okay, now here at first, here the applied voltage, this applied voltage between the filament and the slit. Okay, that is called accelerating potential. That is also called as the accelerating potential. Accelerating. Here V is the accelerating potential. Here the potential difference applied between the filament and the slit to produce the electrons having desired speed or desired energy. The applied high tension voltage is varied from 44 volt to 68 volt. By means of high tension battery, the potential difference between the filament and the slit is varied from 44 to 68 volts. Due to that, the electrons are accelerated against the kinetic energy, and with the greater kinetic energy, they passes through slit in the form of narrow beam of electrons, and the narrow beam of electrons instant on the nickel target. In the nickel target, these electrons, when passing nearer to the electrons in the atom of the nickel target material, then they diffracted, they deviate from their direction, they diffract from their direction, and they travel in some other direction. So suppose at first, when 44 volt is applied, suppose the electrons are diffracted in any direction here, then the detector is moving from this position slowly like this. At one position of the detector, they observe the current in the galvanometer. So that indicates the electrons are diffracted and travel in this direction after diffraction. Is the current passing through this galvanometer is maximum or not? They measured. They observed that current passing through the circuit is not maximum. The reading shown by the galvanometer is not maximum, because whenever the electrons instant on them, Internally, circuit will be closed and current passes. In such a way, mechanism is there in the detector. Okay. Here in this way, gradually, the potential difference varies from 44 volt to 68 volt. Here in this range, whenever here they observed when 50 when they observed for one potential difference, when V is equal to 54 volts. When V is equal to 54 volt, that means by applying the 54 volt potential difference between the filament and the slits, they accelerated the electrons, and with greater energy, the electrons passing through slit and that narrow beam of electrons instant on the nickel target. At the electrons in the atoms or molecules, atoms of the nickel target, they travel nearer to that electron in the atom of the nickel target and diffracted, and they travel in one direction. Okay, now by moving the detector along the circular path here, at what position the current in the galvanometer is maximum for the supplied potential difference of 54 volt here, they observed. Okay, they found that whenever the applied potential difference between them is 54 volt, when the detector is slowly moving, so that whenever this angle is theta, that theta angle is that was observed as 50 degree. Whenever this angle is equal to 50 degree, at that time they found the maximum current in the galvanometer of the detector. That indicates whenever the reading of the galvanometer is maximum, that indicates the constructive interference takes place. Constructive interference takes place between among the electrons, because number of electrons are there. Every electron is having wave nature. Every electron is having wave nature. Whenever constructive interference takes place between this instant wave and the diffracted wave, so whenever constructive interference takes place, in such case, the maximum current passing through them. Here they found maximum current passing through them at one particular angle here. That angle was observed as 50 degree by this detector. Okay, here in this way, suppose if wave nature is not there, then we cannot see the maximum current flowing through a circuit. Always we will get the same current. But here, as long as the detector is moving like this, here also current is flowing. But at one position of the detector, maximum current was seen in the galvanometer. That indicates the diffraction takes place here. Here the electron beams gets diffracted and travel in this direction. At that particular angle only, they observe the maximum current. That means here instead in the instant beam and the diffracted beam, both reflected, both interfere each other, and maximum intensity. In light we use the intensity, but here maximum current passing through the detector here. That indicates constructive interference takes place in the electron beam. Okay, at this particular angle 50 degree. So here if the waves are not associated with the electrons, the deep wave associated with the electron is called a de Broglie wave. If that is also called as the matter wave. Okay, if waves are not associated with the these charged particles like electrons, we cannot observe the maximum current. As wave nature is possessed by these electrons, then only due to constructive interference between the instant wave and the diffracted beam, they observe the maximum current in the this galvanometer. So at this particular angle, for applied operating voltage or accelerating voltage is equal to 54 volt. In this way, the wavelengths of the electrons were successfully observed by Davison and Zermer diffraction experiment. Okay, here next in this, Thomson also observed. Here, Thomson also observed. Thomson discovered the electron. No? Thomson discovered the electron. Here, wavelengths of the electron was first observed by Davison and Zermer. And this wave in the diffraction phenomena also, they used the wave nature concept by Thomson. But at first practically observed by Davison Zermer. And this concept was used by Thomson. But that's why these scientists and the Thomson both together shared the Nobel Prize at that time. Okay. So now here, what is the at this particular angle? What is the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron? That was found. Here, the wavelength of the electron was the wavelength of the diffracted electron was also found by this Davison and Zermer. Okay. Here, electron is accelerated at a potential difference of this one. Therefore, wavelength of the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron in this case is de Broglie wavelength. Of electron. Lambda is equal to, what is the general formula? Tell me. De Broglie wavelength associated with the electron is equal to, what is the general formula? Root 150 by V. I said already. Okay. R 1 point. What is the value we got?
1.227.
1 point or 2 point? 12 point.
12.27 by root 3 angstrom.
1.27.
12.27, sir.
1 point, 12 point.
12.27, sir.
12.27. 12.27 or root 150 by V. ఇదేగా మనకు వచ్చింది root 150 by V. Okay, here when you simplify them, of course root 150 by 54, that is equal to root 150 by 54 అంటే approximately root 3 less than root 3. Root 3 means 1.732. Okay, that means here 1.67 angstroms they got. 1.67 angstroms means how many nanometer?
0.16.
1 nanometer is equal to 10 angstroms, no? 1 angstrom is equal to 1 by 10 nanometer. That means 0.167 nanometer, no? They got the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron in this case used is 0.167 nanometer. Practically they calculated this value. Theoretically also they got the same formula. Theoretically also they got the same value. By using theoretical formula, root 150 by V formula is there, no? By that formula also they got same. Experimentally also the wavelength of the wave associated with the diffracted electron here was found to be 0.167. So it is good agreement with the theoretical concept hypothesized by de Broglie. That's why in this way de Broglie hypothesis was practically experimentally proved by Davison and Zerman. Because of this experimental observation, they were given Nobel Prize also. It is shared by with Thomson also. Okay, this is the Davison-Zerman experiment. Here there is an excellent agreement between the theoretical value and experimental obtained value of the de Broglie wavelength. So this is the Davison-Zerman experiment. Next, shall I rise or are you writing?
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Okay. Actually, I will explain this mechanism here. What happens here, I will explain now. In the note point, I will explain. Okay, right, Jitsama?
So 1 minute. Completed, sir.
Okay. Note 1. Here actually, in case of any crystal or nickel crystal as here taken here, number of crystal planes are arranged. It consists of number of crystal planes which are arranged in order like this, one by one over the other in the crystal. Like this. The spacing between any two crystal planes are same. Okay, here suppose one atom is here, one atom is here, like this. Here, these are the number of atoms which are arranged in a regular manner with a periodic fashion in the nickel crystal. Okay, here this is another layer. It is the crystal plane. Okay, here this is another crystal plane. In between any crystal planes here, the distance between any two crystal planes is equal to interatomic distance, that is a d. Here the distance between these two, this is say d. Okay, now on the surface of the crystal, this is the surface of the crystal. On the surface of here, this is the normal. This is normal. On the surface of the crystal, suppose the electron beam travel in this direction and instant on the surface of the crystal by making an angle theta. Of course, this angle is say phi. Here, this electron beam here, this one, instant on the surface of crystal by making an angle theta with the surface of the crystal with a normal phi angle. Then with what angle it makes collision? Here, this electron beam strikes the atom of the crystal or crystal plane here. Okay, here electron is there, no? At this electron, this electron being diffracted and they travel in this direction. They travel in this direction by making same angle phi here or theta angle here. Next, you take the another electron beam. That another electron beam travel like this parallel to the instant this beam. Okay, and after reflection by this one, again they travel like this, diffracted in this direction. So here this electron beam behaves like the wave. So whenever the two waves after instant on this crystal, they diffracted in this direction. So what is here? These diffracted rays can be observed with the help of the detector. Detector means here detector is, such type of detector is used here. Detector. This is the detector. So whenever these two diffracted beams reaches the detector here, is constant interference takes place or not, we have to observe. Okay, suppose if it is theta, definitely what about this angle? You draw a perpendicular line from this point onto this line. You draw the perpendicular line here also. If it is theta, this is 90 minus theta because it is perpendicular to this line. It is 90 minus theta, so that it is theta. This is theta, no? This is theta. Okay, it is 90 minus theta, it is 90 minus theta. Okay, so here by using this is theta, we can write this is theta. Theta is the angle made by the direction of the instant electron beam with the surface of the crystal or with the crystal plane, or phi is the angle made by the instant beam with the normal drawn to the surface of the crystal plane. Okay, now here, what is this distance? Tell me, what is this distance? D sin theta, no? This is say this is A, B, C. So what is AB value from the diagram? AB, BC both are equal. What about AB value from the diagram? This is 90. This is 90. Tell me.
D sin theta, sir.
So D sin theta. D sin theta. Here, these two electron beams travel from the same source. They travel parallel to each other. Up to this, the distance traveled by the two electron beams before they reaches this plane is same. Okay, from this plane, before they meet the detector also, they travel the same distance. But compared with this beam, this electron beam travel more distance now. So this is the path difference between this electron beam before they meet the detector. So therefore, path difference is what? Path difference between electron beams. Path difference between electron beams before they meet the detector. Before they meet the detector. Comma delta x is equal to, from the diagram, AB plus BC, no? AB, BC both are equal. So AB plus BC, that is equal to, we can write 2AB, which is equal to 2D sin theta. This is the path difference between the two electron beams before they meet the detector. Here, whenever the constant interference takes place, as they observe the more current passing through them, here also, at one particular angle made, at one particular angle, this angle is equal to, at one particular angle, the detector observed that maximum current passing through them. That is the case whenever constructive interference takes place here. That's why, so for constructive interference, path difference delta x is equal to 2D sin theta, that is equal to n into lambda, where lambda is the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron. Where lambda, de Broglie wavelength. What is theta? What is theta? Angle made by the electron beam. Angle made by the electron beam when instant. Angle made by the electron beam with the surface of the crystal when instant. Okay. N, we can take 0, 1, 2, 3 as in constructive interference. N is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Definitely it is not equal to 0 because there is a phase difference. That's why we can write 1, 2, 3, etc. So this is here, I think you know this law that is called Bragg's law, no? In chemistry you had this, I think you have studied in chemistry Bragg's law. Idea ఉందా? కెమిస్ట్రీ వచ్చి ఉండొచ్చు ఇది.
సార్ వచ్చింది సార్, కానీ లా పేరు తెలియదు సార్.
లా పేరు తెలియదా? ఇది వచ్చిందా, ఈ ఫామ్ లో వచ్చిందా?
సార్ వచ్చింది సార్.
ఓకే, ఇట్ ఈస్ బ్రాగ్స్ లా. దిస్ ఈస్ బ్రాగ్స్ లా. అంటే by finding the diffraction phenomena exhibited by the electron beam as it behaves like a wave, Bragg, with the help of Bragg scientist, with the help of this diffraction phenomena exhibited by the electron beam due to wave nature of the electron, they calculated the distance between the two lattice planes or interatomic distance between the any two successive atoms. ఇక్కడ ఈ రెండింటి మధ్య డిస్టెన్స్ ఏక d అంటే n తెలుసు, లాంబ్డా తెలుస్తుంది, d క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయొచ్చు కదా, థీటా తెలుస్తుంది, d క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయొచ్చు కదా. అట్లా ఇంటరాటామిక్ డిస్టెన్స్ లేదా ఇంటర్ ప్లేనార్ డిస్టెన్స్, రెండు ప్లేన్స్ మధ్య డిస్టెన్స్ కూడా ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేశారు. అది దిస్ ఇస్ బ్రాగ్స్ లా. ఓకే, నౌ ఈ ఒకసారి ఇప్పుడు అడిగినట్టున్నాడు దేంతోనో, ఈ మామూలుగా విట్టు అటువంటి వాటిలో అడిగినట్టున్నాడు. ఈ థీటా వాల్యూ ఇక్కడ, సారీ థీటా కాదు, at what in division Zermer experiment what is the accelerating voltage applied, what is the accelerating voltage applied అడిగాడు. తర్వాత ఇక్కడ ఈ at what angle they observed the maximum current through the circuit, maximum current in the detector, అది 53 డిగ్రీ అండి, 53 డిగ్రీ. ఇందాక నోట్ చేసాం అది 54 డిగ్రీ, 54 వోల్ట్, 54 వోల్ట్ దగ్గర ఆ యాంగిల్ గా స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్ కనుక ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేస్తే ఇది స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్, స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్
అన్నారు సార్.
50, అది 50, స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్ 50, అప్లైడ్ వోల్టేజ్ 54, అది ఓకే. ఇట్ ఈస్ ద స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్, ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్. ఇది స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్ అంటామండి. ఆ స్కాటరింగ్ యాంగిల్ 50 దగ్గర అది అబ్జర్వ్ ద మాక్సిమం కరెంట్ ఇన్ ద డిటెక్టర్. అది రైట్. షల్ ఐ రైట్ దిస్ వన్ డయాగ్రామ్?
ఓకే సార్.
What about this? Shall I raise?
సార్ ఉంచండి సార్.
So 1 minute.
Okay. This is Bragg's law. BRAGG apostrophe S. Bragg's law. ఇది నోట్ 1 అనుకోండి. తర్వాత ఇంకోటి, సపోజ్ ఇన్ ఎనీ ఆర్బిట్, సెకండ్ వన్, ఇన్ ఎనీ ఆర్బిట్ ఆఫ్ ది ఎలక్ట్రాన్, సపోజ్ దిస్ ఇస్ ద న్యూక్లియస్, charge of the nucleus Ze, electron charge E minus E of course plus Ze. Here it is. Suppose here suppose this is the nth orbit. It is nth orbit. Radius of the nth orbit is equal to Rn. No? Radius of the nth orbit is Rn. According to division and German experiment, as the charged particle in motion possesses the wave nature. Charged particle means like electron possesses the wave nature. According to division and German experiment also it was proved. As the electron is in motion, they possess the wave nature. That's why whenever the electron travel along this path, along the circular path here, it is associated with wave. It is associated with wave like this. Okay, here suppose if lambda is the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron which is in motion here. Suppose if it is nth orbit, if it is in the nth orbit, then total length of all the de Broglie wavelengths is equal to n into lambda. N into lambda. That is equal to circumference of the orbit, which is equal to 2 pi r n. So Rn is the radius of the nth orbit of this atom. Okay, 2 pi Rn is equal to n into lambda, where n is the principal quantum number or orbit number. n మనం ఆర్బిట్ నెంబర్ అనొచ్చు లేదా ప్రిన్సిపల్ క్వాంటం నెంబర్ అంటాం కదా. ప్రిన్సిపల్ క్వాంటం నెంబర్, principal quantum number or orbit number. In that orbit, what is the radius of the in that orbit? What is the radius of that orbit? Nth orbit means Rn. Rn మనం బోర్ ఆర్బిట్ మోడల్లో మన ఫార్ములా డిరైవ్ చేస్తామండి. సో దాంట్లో మనం ఆ ఫార్ములా ప్రకారం ఈ ఆర్బిట్ రేడియస్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆర్బిట్ వాల్యూ అంతా మనం ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయొచ్చు if you are given the principal quantum number. So by using this formula we can find the de Broglie wavelength, where lambda is de Broglie wavelength associated with the orbiting electron. De Broglie wavelength associated with orbiting electron. Hold on. De Broglie wavelength associated with the orbiting electron.
సార్ లాంబ్డా ఎన్ అంటే వేవ్ లెంత్ ఇన్ ఎంత ఆర్బిట్ సార్?
లాంబ్డా ఎన్ కాదమ్మా, de Broglie wavelength in this orbit whatever it may be.
అంటే లాంబ్డా ఎన్ రాశారు కదా సార్, 2 పై లాంబ్డా ఎన్.
లాంబ్డా ఎన్ ఎక్కడ రాశారు? n
Radius.
లాంబ్డా Rn, r suffix n.
ఓకే సార్, అది లాంబ్డా లాగా.
లాంబ్డా కాదు నాన్న. R suffix n. Rn is the radius of the nth orbit. Radius of nth orbit. What is the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
Delta x into delta pi less than or equal to h by 2 pi.
Delta x into delta p greater than or equal to
H
H
square
by
pi.
M. H by
h
M.
cross by 2 pi kada, h cross
Yes,
by
sir.
2
H by
not
2 pi.
by 2 not by 2 pi, h cross by 2, h cross
Okay.
h cross is equal to h by 2 pi,
Sir.
therefore h by 4 pi totally. Okay, okay, here according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, it is impossible to measure the position and the momentum of the particle simultaneously. Here it is impossible to know simultaneously both the position and momentum of the fundamental particles like electrons, protons, etc., which possess some mass. Okay, అంటే ఇక్కడ సపోజ్ ఏదో ఒక ఇన్సిడెంట్ అప్పుడు మనం ఎలక్ట్రాన్ అబ్జర్వ్ చేసాం, ఇక్కడ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ఉంది, ఇటువైపు మూవ్ అవుతూ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ఈ పొజిషన్ దగ్గర ఉంది, ఈ పొజిషన్ దగ్గర. ఓకే, ఆ ఇన్స్టెంట్ అప్పుడు ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ అట్ దట్ ఇన్స్టెంట్ వెన్ యూ అబ్జర్వ్ ద ఎలక్ట్రాన్, ఆ ఇన్స్టెంట్ అప్పుడు మనం వెలాసిటీ మెజర్ చేయాలి. వెలాసిటీ మెజర్ చేయాలంటే ఆ మెజర్ చేసే టైం గ్యాప్ ఉంటుంది కొంత. మనం ఇట్లా ఎలక్ట్రాన్ అబ్జర్వ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏదో ఒక ఇన్స్టెంట్ అప్పుడు వెలాసిటీ మెజర్ చేద్దాం అనుకునే టైంలో డెఫినెట్ గా ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి డిస్ప్లేస్ అయిపోతుంటుంది. కాబట్టి మనం చేంజ్ ఇన్ వెలాసిటీ లేదా చేంజ్ ఇన్ మొమెంటం ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలి. చేంజ్ ఇన్ మొమెంటం ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలంటే వీ హ్యావ్ టు పాస్ ద టైం. బై పాస్ ద టైం వీ కెన్ మెజర్ ద చేంజ్ ఇన్ వెలాసిటీ. టైం ని పాస్ చేయాలి, టైం మారకూడదు. టైం మారకుండా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ ఇన్స్టెంట్ అప్పుడు దాని వెలాసిటీ ఎంత ఉంది అది క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయొచ్చు మనం. లేదా వెలాసిటీ కాన్స్టెంట్ గా ఉంచండి, వెలాసిటీ పాస్ చేసి టైం ని మెజర్ చేయండి. అంటే ఏదో ఒక దాన్ని పాస్ చేసి ఇంకో దాన్ని మనం మెజర్ చేయాలి, కానీ ఇట్స్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్. టైం పాస్ చేయడం పాసిబిలిటీ ఉంటుందండి, టైం ఆపేయడం పాసిబిలిటీ ఉంటుంది అసలు? అంటే సైమల్టేనియస్ గా ఏదో ఒక ఇన్స్టెంట్ అప్పుడు ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ఇక్కడ అబ్జర్వ్ చేసి దాని చేంజ్ ఇన్ మొమెంటం కానీ చేంజ్ ఇన్ వెలాసిటీ కానీ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలంటే at that instant, at the time, at that instant of time when you observe, if you want to measure the velocity, immediately that particle changes from their place. That's why it is impossible to identify, it is impossible to locate the position of the particle, and it is impossible to measure the change in velocity or change in movement of the particle simultaneously. We can measure either position accurately or momentum accurately or velocity accurately, but it is not possible to measure simultaneously the both position and velocity of the particle accurately. Okay, suppose if you measure the position accurately, then there is some error or there is some uncertainty in the measurement of the velocity, or there is some uncertainty in the measurement of the momentum. Okay, that's why it is impossible to measure the position and the momentum of the electron simultaneously or momentum of the particle simultaneously. That is the statement of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So it is impossible to write down. It is impossible to know simultaneously both the position and momentum of the fundamental particles. Right? It is impossible to. It is impossible to know the position and momentum of fundamental particles like electron, proton, neutrons, etc. Fundamental particles. Simultaneously. This is called Huygens uncertainty principle. This is called Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Fundamental particles simultaneously, which constitute the matter. That means they possess some mass, which constitute matter. Which constitute matter. This is the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. This is important statement for IP point of view. Okay. In another way, here the probability of finding the particle is directly proportional to intensity of the wave at that point. Probability of the, suppose here position and momentum cannot be measured directly simultaneously. Okay, suppose if the intensity of the wave is more at any point, then probability will be more. So the probability of finding the any particle at any point is directly proportional to intensity of that wave or intensity of that wave at that point. Intensity of the de Broglie wave at that point. Okay, అంటే వేవ్నెస్ ఎగ్జిబిట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏ పాయింట్ దగ్గర అయితే ఇంటెన్సిటీ ఆఫ్ ది వేవ్స్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది అంటే కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ ఇంటర్ఫరెన్స్ జరిగినప్పుడు ఇంటెన్సిటీ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది. సో ఎట్ దట్ పాయింట్ దెర్ ఇస్ ఏ మాక్సిమం ప్రాబిలిటీ టు ఫైండ్ ద particle at that point. Okay, here the uncertainty in the measurement of the position, uncertainty or error, uncertainty or error in the measurement of position is equal to delta x. Uncertainty in the measurement of momentum of the particle, say uncertainty or error, uncertainty or error in the measurement of momentum, in the measurement of momentum, linear momentum. In case of translative motion, it is the linear momentum. In case of rotative motion, that is the angular momentum. So uncertainty or error in the measurement of momentum is equal to delta p, delta small p. Then it was found that the product of uncertainty in the measurement of position and uncertainty in the measurement of momentum, that means delta x into delta p, that was greater than or equal to h cross by 2, h cross by 2 or h cut by 2, h cut over 2, h cut upon 2. Okay, or here h cut or h cross is equal to h by 2 pi. H cut or h cross, that is equal to h by 2 pi, where h is the Planck's constant. So this is equal to r delta x into delta p greater than or equal to h by 4 pi, we can write h by 4 pi. This is the mathematical form of the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Okay. Suppose if the position is kept constant and when you measure the momentum, if the position and momentum both are not constant, they are not positive, then change in the position is delta x. Due to the change in momentum of the particle is say delta p. Then product of these two, the product of uncertainties in the measurement of position and momentum, or the product of errors in the measurement of position and momentum of the given fundamental particle is greater than or equal to h cross by 2 or h cross equal to h by 2 pi. Therefore, delta x dot into delta p is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi, where h is the Planck's constant. H, Planck's constant. Of course, that value 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34, we can take joule second. Okay, now this h cut or h cross is also called as the reduced Planck's constant, where h cut, that is equal to h by 2 pi. This is called reduced Planck's constant. Reduced Planck's constant. Reduced Planck's constant. Here, for fundamental particles means like microscopic particles, no. So this is true for microscopic particles. For microscopic particles are fundamental particles. Microscopic particles like electrons, protons, neutrons, etc. Protons, etc. This is the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So from this, as delta x into delta p greater than or equal to h by 4 pi, you write h by 4 pi. So here delta x into p means momentum, mass into velocity, no? So momentum is constant. That's why m into, we can write delta v also, no? Delta p is equal to delta of mv. M is constant, you write outside. M into delta v. So m into delta v we can write, where m is the mass of the fundamental particle or microscopic particle greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. For electron, we have tried this is the mass of the electron. So from this delta x into delta v, that means uncertainty in the measurement of position, uncertainty in the measurement of velocity greater than or equal to h by 4 pi m, we can write in terms of uncertainty in velocity. Uncertainty in momentum is that one. Okay. Now here from this, if uncertainty in the measurement of position is 0, if delta x is equal to 0, if delta x is equal to 0, obviously delta p in that formula, if delta x is equal to 0, definitely delta p is equal to infinity, no? So sir, delta p greater than or equal to h by 4 pi into delta x. Delta p is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi into delta x. And if delta x is equal to 0, then delta p is equal to infinity. That means uncertainty is very, very large when uncertainty in the position is 0. Similarly, if uncertainty in the momentum is 0, then uncertainty in the position becomes maximum. That is infinity. Okay. Now, significance of this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Significance. Significance of the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. It is not significant in our daily life. అంటే daily life లో మనం దీన్ని అబ్జర్వ్ చేయం. ఎందుకంటే daily life లో suppose when in the daily life generally we used to see only big objects. Big objects means objects having heavy masses. We cannot see the fundamental particles like electrons, protons, etc. That's why this Heisenberg's principle cannot be observed in our daily life. Okay, so it is not significant in our daily life. Not significant in our daily life. Okay. Here, for example, in our daily life, we come across various big objects like car, stones, etc. They are having masses very large compared with electrons, protons, etc. Okay. In case of electron, proton, etc., whenever the radiation instant on them, light radiation instant on them, definitely the momentum of the electron or photon or electron, proton will be affected. But in our daily life, whenever the light radiation instant on them from the sun, then is there any change in the position of the building? Is there any change in the position of the stone? No, that means they are not affected. If they are affected, then this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle can be applied to that part, that bodies also. That's why here, because here time is measured with the light rays only. Okay, our light rays ద్వారా affect అయ్యే particles ఇవి. కాబట్టి Heisenberg's uncertainty principle can be applied to the fundamental particles only, not to the bodies in our daily life. That's why it has no significance in daily life. Okay, you write here, it is not significant in our daily life. Example, you write down the notes. You write down the notes. Example, in everyday life, we come across only big objects. We come across only big objects. We come across only big objects. Full stop. We come across the big objects and their position and momentum. Their position and momentum. Their position and momentum are not changed. Are not changed by the impact of photons. By the impact of photons. By the impact of photons. Unlike the subatomic particles, unlike the subatomic particles or fundamental particles, unlike the subatomic particles like electrons, protons, etc. Electrons, protons, etc. Next, in this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, note point. In case of rotatory motion, this principle can be written mathematically as instead of position here we have to write the angular position, uncertainty in the angular position delta theta into instead of change in linear momentum in rotating motion, what is the analog term to the linear momentum in translated motion? What is the analog term to the linear momentum in analog term in the rotating motion? What is the term analog to linear momentum in translated motion? That in rotating motion. Translated motion లో linear momentum కి analog term rotating motion లో దేనికి ఈక్వల్ అండి? యాంగులర్ మొమెంటం కదా. పొజిషన్ అయితేనేమో ఇక్కడ యాంగులర్ పొజిషన్, లీనియర్ మొమెంటం అయితే ఇక్కడ యాంగులర్ మొమెంటం. సో uncertainty in the angular momentum of the rotating particle that is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. ఇది rotating motion లో అయితే ఇది అప్లై చేస్తాం. అంటే ఒకసారి వాడు మనకి ఇస్తాడు the uncertainty in the measurement of the angular position or angular displacement is so and so. Then what is the uncertainty in the measurement of angular momentum అంటాడు. అంటే డెల్టా ఎల్ అడుగుతాడు, లేదు ఒకసారి పర్సెంటేజ్ లో అడుగుతాడు. అప్పుడు డెల్టా ఎల్ బై ఎల్ ఇంటూ 100 ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయండి. ఓకే, so that you can understand it. Problems are very simple, just like measurements and errors method there, no? Inside like that we have to do the problems. So this is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. ఎరేజ్ చేసేచ్చండి, ఇది ఎరేజ్ చేసేచ్చ ఇది.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
రైట్. ఒక 2-3 ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉన్నాయండి. ఈ 2-3 ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ బుక్స్ లో లేవు కానీ నోట్ చేయండి. వేరే బుక్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే మీకు అసైన్మెంట్ లో ఇస్తాను. మన మెటీరియల్ ఎక్కడ కనిపించలా మనకి. రైట్, ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 1 నోట్ చేయండి. A golf ball has mass of 10 40 gram. Has mass of 40 gram. And a speed of 45 meter per second. A golf ball has mass of 40 gram and a speed of 45 meter per second. Full stop. If the speed can be measured, if the speed can be measured, if the speed can be measured within the accuracy of 2%, 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 comma, then find the uncertainty in the position. 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 Uncertainty in the position, we only delta x and ichad. Uncertainty in the position. ఒకసారి పర్సంటేజ్ లో కూడా ఇస్తాడు. Uncertainty in position. Delta x is what? That is the case. మనకి uncertainty in the position find out చేయాలంటే according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle delta p కావాలి. Delta p కావాలంటే delta v కావాలి. ఓకేనా? So account okay, here from this formula percentage error in the measurement of velocity ichad. Therefore uncertainty in velocity, uncertainty in velocity, delta v is equal to what? 2 by 100 into v, no, that means 2 by 100 into v means 45. Therefore this is equal to 0.9 meter per second, no? It is the uncertainty in the measurement of velocity. Therefore from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, uncertainty principle, delta x into delta p, delta p ante m into delta, okay, first you write greater than or equal to h by 4 pi kada, delta x into delta v greater than or equal to h by 4 pi m writes kada, 4 pi m. Okay, therefore delta x is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi m delta v రాసుకోవచ్చు కదా. So therefore మరి what is this value? Delta x greater than or equal to h అంటే 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 by 4 into 22 by 7 into mass of the golf ball 40 gram అంటే 40 into 10 to the power minus 3 into uncertainty in the measurement of velocity 0.9 వచ్చింది. So 0.9. So when you simplify them, delta x greater than or equal to uncertainty in the position is equal to 1.46 into 10 to the power minus 33. 1.46 into 10 to the power minus 33 meters. So therefore this is the uncertainty. Therefore uncertainty in position, comma, delta x is equal to 1.46 అంటే minimum value, minimum uncertainty, minimum అంటే ఈక్వల్ రైట్స్ కదా, మాక్సిమం అంటే ఇన్ఫినిటీ వరకు కూడా ఉండొచ్చు. మినిమం అన్సర్టెనిటీ is equal to 1.46 into 10 to the power minus 33 meter. This is the answer. Note down. Minimum uncertainty or minimum error, uncertainty ని ఎర్రర్ గా ఫీల్ అయితే మనం డైరెక్ట్ గా ఆన్సర్ వచ్చేస్తుంది. మినిమం కన్ఫ్యూజన్ లేకుండా, మినిమం uncertainty in the position. Delta x is equal to 1.46 into 10 to the power of minus 33. ఇక్కడ మార్నింగ్ నుంచి ఇట్స్ వెరీ వెరీ రైనీ. మార్నింగ్ నుంచి అండి ఫుల్ కంటిన్యూస్ గా పడతానే ఉంది వితౌట్ రెస్ట్. మీకు కూడా అంతేనా?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Throat state.
No, sir.
లేదు సార్ ఇక్కడ.
లేదు సార్.
అంటే క్లౌడీగా ఉండి ఉండొచ్చు.
అవును సార్.
Sir. Full.
Right on. Next, right on. An electron, next one. నువ్వు అన్మ్యూట్ చేస్తే చాలా నాయిస్ వచ్చేస్తా ఉంది అక్కడి నుంచి. An electron has a speed of, right on. An electron has a speed of, an electron has a speed of, ఇది మీరు చేతురుగానండి ఇది. An electron has a speed of 4 into 10 to the power of 5 meter per second. 4 into 10 to the power of 5 meter per second. Within the accuracy of 0.01%. Within the accuracy of 0.01%. Full stop. Calculate the uncertainty. Calculate the uncertainty in the position of electron. ఇది మీకు చేతురు కానీ ఇదే సేమ్ మోడల్. Calculate the uncertainty in the position of the electron. Full stop. Given h is equal to Planck's constant h is equal to, right on, 6.625 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joule second. 6.625 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joule second. Comma. Mass of the electron is m suffix e రాసేసుకోండి డైరెక్ట్ గా. m suffix e. Mass of the electron is, లేదా m is equal to 9.11 into 9.11 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg.
సేమ్ మోడల్.
సేమ్ మోడల్. డెల్టా మీ తర్వాత చేయండి. డెల్టా ఎక్స్ అంటే అన్సర్టెనిటీ ఇన్ ద ఆన్సర్ రాసుకోండి. ఆన్సర్ minimum uncertainty of position is equal to, minimum uncertainty in the position is equal to, minimum uncertainty in the position is equal to 1.447 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. 1.447 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. సో అది ఆన్సర్ రావాలని మీరు తర్వాత చేసుకోండి. నెక్స్ట్ third one, next problem. In an experiment, the uncertainty in the position is 1 angstrom. In an experiment, the uncertainty in the position is 1 angstrom, comma, then calculate uncertainty in the momentum of electron. Then calculate the uncertainty in the momentum of electron. The uncertainty in the momentum of electron.
థర్డ్ క్వశ్చన్ సార్.
Yeah. Uncertainty in the momentum of electron. Of energy 2 kilo electron volt. 2 kilo electron volt. Of course, 2 kilo electron volt means that is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 3 into 2 into 10 to the power of 3 electron volt. 1 electron volt means charge of the electron joules. That's why into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. That much joule. So this is equal to 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 16 joules. It is the energy. Here, whenever the electron is traveling with this energy, if the uncertainty in the position is delta x, then what is the uncertainty in the momentum now? Yeah, uncertainty in the momentum. Or uncertainty in the momentum. ఆన్సర్ పర్సంటేజ్ లో ఇచ్చాడు. ఆన్సర్ ఇక్కడ పర్సంటేజ్ లో ఇచ్చాడు. అన్సర్టెన్ ద మూమెంటం ఈస్ డాష్ పర్సంటేజ్ అంటే పర్సంటేజ్ ఆఫ్ అన్సర్టెనిటీ ఇన్ ద మూమెంటం అని ఆన్సర్ పర్సంటేజ్ లో ఇచ్చినప్పుడు మనం ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాల్సింది డెల్టా పి బై స్మాల్ పి ఇంటూ 100 దట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు వాట్. ఇది ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడ మనం డెల్టా పి క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయొచ్చు కదండి బై హైజెన్బర్గ్స్ అన్సర్టెనిటీ ప్రిన్సిపల్. From uncertainty principle, uncertainty means Heisenberg's uncertainty only. From uncertainty principle, delta x into delta p greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So delta p greater than or equal to h by 4 pi into delta x. Now you substitute the values in SI system. That is equal to 6 point Planck's constant is not given, so you write 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 34 by 4 into 22 by 7 into delta x. In the SI system you substitute 10 to the power of minus 10. Okay, when you simplify them, delta p greater than or equal to, you will get 0.527 into 10 to the power of minus 24 kilogram meter per second. Kilogram meter per second. Okay, therefore, minimum uncertainty in the measurement column. Minimum. What is particular ఇవ్వలేదు కాబట్టి minimum find out చేయాలి. Therefore, minimum uncertainty. Minimum uncertainty in momentum, comma, delta p is equal to 0.527 into 10 to the power of minus 24 kilogram meter per second. Okay, next energy ఇచ్చాడు వాడు. From energy is equal to p square by 2 into mass of the particle. ఇక్కడ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ కదా ఇది, ఎలక్ట్రాన్ దగ్గర మనకి ఇచ్చింది ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ విచ్ పార్టికల్, ఎలక్ట్రానే కదా. సో ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్, ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ అంటే p square by 2m, that is given as 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 16 joules. Okay, therefore దీని నుంచి మనకు మొమెంటం కావాలి. p is equal to p square is equal to 2m into 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 16. So 2 into what is the mass of the electron? 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus
10 power minus 31
into 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 16. ఇది p square value. So p అంటే under root. Okay, therefore దీన్ని సింప్లిఫై చేస్తే వచ్చే వాల్యూ ఓకే, వాడు సింప్లిఫై చేయలేదని డైరెక్ట్ గా ఇస్తారు. ఓకే, ఇది మొమెంటం అండి. దేర్ఫోర్ మనకు ఆల్రెడీ మినిమం అన్సర్టెనిటీ ఇన్ ద మొమెంటం వచ్చింది కదా. దేర్ఫోర్ వాడు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయమంది అన్సర్టెనిటీ ఇన్ ద మొమెంటం పర్సంటేజ్ లో. దేర్ఫోర్ పర్సంటేజ్ ఆఫ్ అన్సర్టెనిటీ ఇన్ ద మొమెంటం, పర్సంటేజ్ ఆఫ్ అన్సర్టెనిటీ ఇన్ మొమెంటం, comma, delta p by small p into 100, that is equal to what? Therefore delta p by small p into 100 is equal to Delta P means 0.527 into 10 to the power of minus 24 by P means root of okay, right as it is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 into 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 16. Okay, into 100. That is equal to, when you simplify them, you will get 2.19. 2.19%. So therefore, delta P by P into 100 is equal to 2.19. This is the answer. Okay. These are the problems.